Hi, I'm Michelle Pegler of Gingy Makes Quilts. I'm here today to show you a small Valentine's Day wall hanging that I'm working on. I have it all pieced together and partially quilted, and I'm going to show you some more free motion quilting that I'm planning to add, as well as a little bit about how I'm going to put the label on. So I'll get to show you those things and then show you the final product. So let's get going. This is what I have done so far on this little wall hanging. I'll hold it up so you can see the whole thing. It's just a heart made of half square triangles. This is a free pattern called Stitches from the Heart that's on Fat Quarter Shop, so I'll provide that link in case you want to go check it out. This is going to finish at about 3 feet by 3 feet, but that pattern also includes a version that finishes at like a 12-inch square. So much smaller pieces. I decided to do the big one. And this is what I have. The fabrics in here I actually mostly had in my stash already. I had a Fat Quarter bundle from Melissa Mora called Blooms and Bobbins that I've just been hanging on to. I really liked all the fabrics in it, but wasn't really sure what to put them in. And I thought they'd actually be perfect for a Valentine's Day project, so I'll show you some of those fabrics. Get up a little bit closer here. That fabric collection had all these little dotted lines fabrics, as well as the floral prints that are in here. Also this pink background sewing machine fabric, some of those things. I had some of these solids already, but I did go to the store and grab a couple extra solids to fill it out, as well as the background, which is a small floral print that's like white on white, so it probably won't show up on the camera very well. And then also I got this backing I really love, another floral print. If you can't tell, I am a sucker for floral prints. So this is the backing I got. I thought it was really beautiful. It has some pink and orange roses, and then they are on a kind of faux wood grain, kind of grayish taupe background. So I thought that was really pretty. And since it's a large print, I love being able to use it for a backing. I probably wouldn't use this fabric on the front of a quilt because it is such a large print and there's such variation in color around the print. If you were to cut this up into smaller pieces, what you'd get is some color or some pieces that are like all gray and some that are all pink or orange. So it'd be hard to use this in a pattern unless you want it to be really scrappy looking. So those are the fabrics I picked. In terms of quilting, so far I have the heart all quilted, and then you might have already seen the echo lines around the heart. I did 3 echo lines using my walking foot to kind of outline and emphasize that heart shape. And you can also see I did a little Cupid's arrow. There's the point of it. And then the bottom of it comes out the other side. And then on the heart itself, I did a continuous curve on all those half square triangles. So you can see it shows up really well on those dark solids, but they're all done the same. I used a pretty bright pink thread to do all this quilting so far called Flamingo. And then I still need to quilt the rest of the background. It's all unquilted so far. I'm going to switch to a lighter pink thread called Blush and then show you some of that free motion quilting today. So let's get to it. So I'm working on the spine of this feather. I'm almost got it done. So I just try and follow along, following the blue line that I drew in my water erasable pen. It doesn't matter if I'm right on it, just generally close, and I'm trying to do a pretty consistent stitch length down the spine. And I can just stop and turn it whenever I need to, because whenever you stop, the needle is buried, so I can move this around without the thread or needle going anywhere. Reposition my hands whenever I need to. And just go right off the edge there. And then the fun part starts, where I'm going to start adding those petals up the spine. I usually like to do that from the bottom up, but I may need to do it upside down in this corner just because most of the fabric is going to be under the throat, but we'll see. And I might take out this safety pin because it's going to get in my way.
So to make my feathers, I'm just going to start by traveling back up the spine and then swing out into a big petal shape. When I've done that, I'm going to travel back up the petal shape for a little bit until I'm top right corner of it, and then use that as my starting point for the next petal and swing it back toward the spine. So I'm just going to continue going up the whole spine in groups of 2 like that, where I swing out from the spine and then travel back a little bit and swing back in on the next petal. And then back in. I'll take the safety pins out as I come to them. Once you've quilted down near the safety pin, you really don't need it holding the quilt sandwich together anymore. And again, I'll turn this as I need to. I think I might flip this around. So I'm going to be quilting this one a little bit upside down to what I usually do, but I think I can manage. You can see as I'm turning the corner, I'm just kind of adjusting where the petals are going, trying to keep them about the same size in terms of their height and their width, but you know, it's not going to be perfect, and what matters is just that I make them nice and rounded and approximately the same size. So that's it. I'll just keep going up my whole blue line on this side. Then I will do another line down the whole spine on the other side and come back up with petals on that side too. And then it's fillers on either side of this big feather.
I've quilted most of the background now, and I just wanted to show you some detail shots of the big feather designs and some of the fillers that I put in around them, and then talk a little bit about how I like to put my labels on. So in general, I am working from, well, usually when you quilt, you work from the middle of the quilt out to the edges. So that's why I did my heart in the middle first. Then I worked on doing these echo lines, and now I'm working on quilting the background. And in terms of quilting the background, I also kind of went from the middle out. So I did this feather before doing this feather on the edge. And I'm kind of working from the top down, and I'm going to end up in the bottom left corner because that is where I'm going to attach my label on the back side. So I'll show you that in a second. But here in the top left of the quilt, you can see that I have these nice, big, flowy feather designs that go off the edge. They kind of start at the heart and go off the edge, and then in between them I've added some really dense filler quilting so that they pop out really, really nicely. So you can see some different designs I was playing around with up here. I've kind of used some serpentine lines. I've got some little flower designs here in this really tight area. I did a wishbone to just fill that in. I decided to do a kind of paisley design here. Once again, it's really, really dense, helps the big feather stand out. I had this feather travel up behind my Cupid's arrow and again off the edge of the quilt. Up here in the top right, I did kind kind of a rainbow meandering design, which I think looks really nice. Let me flip this over and show you some stuff on the bottom. So again, I've got another big feather going up into the heart, and then to the left of it I have some swirl hooks, and I've turned those into some leaf designs, and I'm actually going to end up filling this whole area in with these kind of leaf meanders. Did some more wishbones here. I did a swirl chain down this side to fill up this big corner. I did just kind of like a wavy lines design here. So all I have left to do now is the bottom left. And on this side you can see I still have my blue line I drew for where my big feather is going to go. So I'll quilt that first, and then I'll go back and I'll fill in to either side of it. But before I wanted to do that, I actually ironed my label on the back. So I use a printable iron-on paper to design my own labels. This is what I use. I'm sure there's other products out there that do the similar thing, and I can probably put a link to this in the description to the video. Pretty sure I just got this on Amazon. So it comes with standard size 8.5 by 11 printable fabric paper, and you can use these in your normal printer. So I usually will design my label in PowerPoint. I'll put a little note on it when I made the quilt, who it's for, and then I'll print that out. I'll do a practice on regular paper first just to make sure that the sizing of it looks good, and then I'll print it on the actual printable fabric. And so I did that for this one, and what I did is I used my safety pins that are basting the quilt sandwich together. So you can see I've got my safety pins here in the corner, and so I use those to position my label on the back in the bottom right corner of the back. So I've got my label right here. I printed that on my printer, and I've ironed it on using the instructions that come with the paper. And now when I go to quilt this last corner, again, I'm going to be working from the middle out toward the edges. I'll actually quilt over this, so it's going to be really, really stable on there once it's all done. And again, that's hiding behind this last corner I need to quilt. Can't wait to show you when it's all done.
That is all I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos from me, go ahead and subscribe. I'll talk to you next time.